Right. So what were the moves that I was thinking about early on in the halftime break? Bishop takes e. So now I'll go a little bit deeper in my analysis, and hopefully, by the way, hopefully this gives the audience at home a little bit of useful insight, because I'm going to make mistakes, but the idea is these are going to be mistakes that someone of roughly my playing strength will make. I hope. And for anyone wondering, when I'm commentating, I'm absolutely crap. I know that. I think I'm currently FIDE give or take 1750, and hopefully with a playing strength a bit higher than that on a good day. We'll
1760 at least.
Ooh, there we go. So let's take a look at this position here. Bishop takes e6. Might not be the move, but I have to consider it, like, first and foremost. Bishop takes e6. Bishop takes bishop, for example. Should I be making these moves, or should I try and...
See how the variation goes without moving it.
Cool. So bishop takes e6, bishop takes e6. Then, of course, you've got queen takes rook check, rook takes rook, rook takes rook check, bishop back to g8, and then white can play his rook on d1, down to d8. But in that position, I think black can then play queen e6. And that might not be the best line, but it's certainly not a white's crushing in the next three moves kind of line.
Okay, now that you've given the variation, let's play the moves on the board and see if you agree with your analysis.
So takes. This is probably the part where I spot something else. Takes. And the queen there.
Okay, now this position would be winning because of the extra pawn.
Wait! There's the mate!
It's a mate in two, John.
It's not a mate in one, so it's fine. So, but assuming it wasn't a mate as well, like, this isn't exactly winning for white straight away.
Yeah, well, it's an extra pawn in a king and pawn ending. That's winning for white.
Oh yeah, if there were rooks, then it would be drawn, because all rook and pawn endings are drawn.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So if you go to the position after... where you played rook d8. Based on your newfound knowledge that queen e1 check is a good move, what other move could white consider in this position?
Rook df1, I guess, but then you just... No, because then queen takes b2 and you start mopping up pawns. That's not great, is it?
Well, you've got a weak back rank, so what are we going to do about it?
Oh, h3 is boring.
Yeah, no, h3 is the only sensible move here.
You could play rook b1.
You're pieced down in this position. You can't...
Well, ish.
So you can play h3, for example, h6, rook d8, and the simplest thing for black to do is take a draw with queen e1 check.
Sure, and get,
king h2, queen e5.
and have the repetition.
Yeah, because two rooks against a queen is generally going to be in white's favour.
Well, that's definitely not what white's looking for in this position.
No, that's a full analysis of bishop takes e6. So that leads to equality.
Well, there was one variation that chat was mentioning as well, which is rook d8. And I question rook d8 quite a lot. So the variation I saw in chat was rook to d8, rook takes rook, bishop e8, exclam, oh my god, amazing, unicorns, rainbows, etc. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to stop my analysis with rook d8, bishop b7, and say this isn't that clear.
Okay. I think another interesting point that people forget... I mean, one of the toughest things with these positions isn't finding the amazing move for white. It's finding the best defences for black.
Yeah.
So even in the rook takes d8 variation, I just want to confirm something here. If rook takes d8, bishop e8... I'm aware that obviously I can't play rook takes e8. We can show it on the board. Rook takes e8 allows mate in 2 with queen f8.
Yep.
But instead of that, black doesn't have to do what you want him to do. You could play something like Queen F6 here.
Oh,
And
well, you're boring.
And given that black is an entire rook ahead, doesn't matter that that move objectively looks a bit odd because it gives away pawns and various other things. But I don't see a win for white in this position.
I forget that in this part of the show you're allowed to offer the exchange of queens.
Well, yeah. So you have to be very careful when you give away a rook for nothing. Apparently.
Nah, you just win on time, you'll be fine. Okay.
One on merit, John.
Oh yeah, I won on time. Time is merit. I'm sure that's how the saying goes.
So what about the third move?
So I'm going to go on to the moves that I was considering beforehand. I talked about bishop takes e6, which was one of my candidate moves. I also mentioned like just moving the bishop away, bishop g8, and that, in my opinion, after some very careful analysis, i.e., I think that kind of sidesteps most of the problem.
Yeah.
So it's not a rook for free, but it's certainly a piece for free. But the other move I looked at, well, there were two. I looked at bishop g6, and that's obviously interesting because I shouldn't be moving this on the board.
It's all right. You can move bishop g6 on the board
because you have rook takes queen, rook takes rook for. Rook down to the back rank, and that's mating and all that.
Yeah.
And then I think the biggest problem I had was after black plays his bishop away, so bishop b7, because bishop d7, of course, hangs it to a rook at some point in the future, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that clear because my queen's under attack and the rooks are connected, so it's not necessarily a free bishop. But let's say bishop b7 for the sake of avoiding that argument. I would probably follow that up with queen h4, and then... No, I wouldn't. It's not a mate in one. So that might actually work.
Yeah, so bishop b7, what are you playing, John?
I think I'm playing queen takes rook, Tom.
Yeah, that's mate in two.
Yeah.
We will show all these variations. We're just going to see how far John... Yeah.
I don't know.
Put it on the board. Bishop
I must have been looking at a different variation during the break.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's still mating. Ignore what I just said. Which means...
So black has two sensible defensive moves. Pawn takes bishop is obviously bad. Queen takes rook. We don't need to analyse further than that. It's clearly winning for white. So what are the two sensible moves for black?
Rook g8 isn't out of the question.
Yeah.
And... That's interesting.
Uh-huh.
Rook f6 might be the second one?
It still has the same old problem.
Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, rook f6, rook d8.
Absolutely doesn't work at all. Yeah. So rook g8 is one of the moves. I actually can't see the second one immediately.
Okay, take me through your analysis of rook g8, and then we'll get on to the last one.
Right, so black plays rook g8. I want white to play queen h4, which forces h6. And I'm trying to work out what my continuation is after that.
I thought that you had a different idea after rook g8.
Did I?
When you mentioned this earlier, I'm sure you mentioned a different move, because you couldn't see what to do after queen h4, h6.
Would I have mentioned queen f8? I straight up don't remember the conversation.
Okay.
So what else could I do? Rook g8, queen f8. Sounds fun. Might not be.
Uh-huh.
Bishop b7. Bishop...
Well, I can reveal what you're going to need is some. What do we really like to do on Hack Attack? We like to hack, but
not give away mate while doing so?
Not give away mate while doing it, but what do we give away instead?
We sacrifice. I remember the conversation now. Right, we're going to ignore that. That's right. We needed to remove the... So this was my observation in about 5 seconds of analysis, but maybe I should just be playing Blitz. Clearly, that's really good. So we've got bishop g6, rook g8, and then I suggested just playing bishop takes h7. And that, I believe, forces... Does that... I was trying to work out if that was a forcing move.
It forces king takes h7 as far as we're concerned.
Why can... Well, I see, because if black plays the rook back to e8, for example, white can then just play queen h4.
Yeah, or even bishop back to g6.
Or even bishop back to g6. Okay. So we're going to go with bishop g6, rook g8, bishop takes h7, king takes h7. The rook's on g8. And then I'm almost certain I can get away with playing queen h4 in this position. So the king is on h7, the rook's on g8. I've just played queen h4 check. Black can't interject with his queen, because if he plays queen h5, I just take it. There's nothing to support it. The king can't go off of the h-file, because the rook's on g8, blocking his escape there. So he has to come forward and play king g6. And at that point, I couldn't work out what my next check was.
Okay. How long do we have left, by the way?
About minus 30 seconds, but Simon won't mind.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go through this quite quickly then.
Okay.
Because to be honest, the answer there is the position is just winning whatever you do.
Oh, is that the right answer?
Pretty much.
Ooh.
So queen h4, king g6, and then black's in such a bad position that everything wins. For simplest is just rook d3. And there's no defense to rook g3.
Out of curiosity, is there any reason why it's this rook and not the other one?
The rook on the f-file is already cutting the king off from going to f7.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So you might as well use the rook that's not doing anything. Right, very quickly in that case, let's go back to not rook g8.
This looks pretty comprehensive, actually.
Yeah.
So I was just missing the last move.
Yeah.
Fair. It's because it wasn't a check or a capture.
So bishop g6.
Yep.
Queen f6.
Ooh, hang on. So this is new.
So I think you'll struggle to get the entire thing from here. So I'm going to give you a couple of moves.
Okay.
Queen e2. Queen e7 to defend the rook on f8.
Oh, yes, you can't take the bishop.
Queen h5.
Ooh, I like this.
h6. And now the whole focus has been on the back rank. We need a lovely deflection in order to win us the game. Good old remove the defender.
This is odd. I'm looking at rook f7. I can't make that work.
What's the defender?
The defender at the back rank is the rook on f8, right?
No, the rook on f8, well, sort of.
Oh, well, the queen's defending the rook on f8.
That's the piece we're looking to deflect.
Yeah. I can't move this rook on the grounds that he takes this with checkmate unless I play it to d8. So we deflect the rook.
How can we're deflecting the queen?
Sorry,
we need to attack the queen.
Oh, so queen h4. Queen h4 could work. Queen takes c5 could also work.
But then if he's got queen takes c5 and the queen still defends the rook. This is the point.
He has got queen takes c5 and the queen still defends the rook.
So he can't take because of mate on f8. So he takes on f1, and it's just the same idea again. Rook takes f1. Rook takes f1. Queen d6. Queen g3. And it's over. e5, for example. And I'll let you play the winning move after e5. Spot the continual theme of deflecting the queen.
Is it queen takes e5?
It is queen takes e5.
Wow.
All right, that was tough, but it was fun.
What if?
Well, just queen takes b8.
Oh, then just queen takes rook. Okay.
Yeah.
The queen f6 variation is complicated.
Chess is complicated.
And you would have had to see that from here.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, that's why people had the whole show to work it out.
Queen h4 was fun.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is brilliant.
Yeah.